Hey, everybody. Right now, I want you to just sit right back and hear a tale. A tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. Here on Killer Podcast Isle. Island horror movies on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. Yay!
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Time for the show. Yay.
Ahoy, mateys. It is your captain speaking, Insane Mike. This is episode 242 of Attack of the Killer Podcast. The theme for this show is island horror. That's right, horror movies that take place on a small, often deserted island.
Killer Islands. No?
That would be cool, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we will not be talking about Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island.
Ah.
I know, right? But we do have some awesome movies to talk about. But more on that later. First of all, if this is your first time listening to Attack of the Killer Podcast, what we are a horror movie podcast where a group of friends, we get together, we pick a topic, and we talk about horror movies within that specific topic. We are mostly friends here and on the show. So we
Always at the beginning.
we speak
Questionable at the end.
we speak as if we are just hanging out. So the conversation will be open and free, so there may be spoilers. You've been warned. If you like the show, prove it. Become an attacker.
Do it.
An attacker is a special fan of the show that gets let in deeper into the Attack of the Killer podcast world. At our site, jointheattackers.com, you can sign up for the tier that best suits you. Your support helps the show, and you get various perks for joining. You can get early access to the show and actually get the show on a weekly basis with our bonus episodes. You can get your very own membership certificate, sticker, and membership card, and even shout-outs on the show and website. There are various video series like video updates, Insane Mike's 1-minute top 10 list, and killer critiques. You can even get a t-shirt or some original art by me called Mikey's Monsters, where I draw you as a monster of my choice. Can you think of another podcast that offers this much content for supporting the show?
No.
I sure can't. Just go to jointheattackers.com, support the show, get all the goodies that you want. Again, that's jointheattackers.com.
What's also really cool is it's a great time to become an attacker because we're holding a contest over the next month or so where if you get signed up, become an attacker, you're automatically entered into a random drawing. And we've put together 4 or 5 really awesome prize packs full of DVDs and posters and Blu-rays and artwork and really cool stuff. And you just have to be an attacker to be entered in the drawing. So get signed up. Jointheattackers.com.
And now it's time to introduce you to the podcast crew. Last year, he took his vacation to the Canary Islands. He was disappointed that there were no canaries. This year, he went to the Virgin Islands and was equally disappointed. There were no canaries on that island either. Andy, everybody.
There ain't any virgins left either. After I was there. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
The first time he went to Hawaii, he immediately wanted to go back. Basically, he wanted Samoa. Tad, everybody.
Hey guys. Thanks for listening through this.
He is opening a chain of fast food restaurants on deserted islands. He's calling them Lord of the Fries. Jason!
Nice. That sounds delicious.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, what's up, everybody? Thanks for listening. So glad you clicked on the buttons to put us in your ear holes.
That's right. Now, don't you dare get trapped on a deserted island without subscribing to Shudder. Shudder, the Netflix of horror, will make your stay on the island way more enjoyable. Heck, you won't even want to leave. You won't be talking to a volleyball when you have the premium streaming service for horror. You can get a free month of Shudder thanks to us here at Attack of the Killer Podcast. Just enter our promo code AOTKP and get all that amazing content. Again, that's AOTKP. Sign up and get that free month. Do it. You know, we do watch other stuff besides the movies for this show. And now we're going to tell you about it. Here's Tad with what we watched.
So I follow all of you guys on Letterboxd, so I sort of know what people are watching.
But and you can too at home.
You also can follow us, but I don't. Andy, are you on Letterboxd, or you just don't update it very often?
You mean our drive or whatever? Like do we?
No,
that means no.
Okay, Andy, what have you watched?
I've been catching up with the Saw series. I watched Spiral and Jigsaw, and nice. I thought they were both good. I mean, I don't think they were particularly great. One thing I noticed in Spiral, when the moment Chris Rock tossed his phone to that guy, I could predict the movie like right away. You do not share information in this series, okay? He might as well have just literally just stuck his head physically into a trap there, and yeah, I was able to call it right after that. I also binged the Masters of the Universe series, Revelations. Absolutely loved it.
Yay!
Loved it.
So good.
They need more of the the end episode things like they did in the old school one. Like, Skeletor was an asshole today. Don't be an asshole. I also watched on Netflix The Cocaine Cowboys about Sal Magluta and Willie Falcone. Have you guys ever watched any of the Cocaine Cowboys documentaries?
No.
I wasn't sure what half them words you said even were.
Well, basically, it's about the drug smugglers in the early 80s and up into the late 90s. This one was actually pretty interesting. It's like a 5-part series, so I mean that's what I spent a lot of time watching. But it's actually really, really cool. They're really detailed and really ornate documentaries. I was also able to watch Suicide Squad. It was okay. It was okay. Big, weird, giant starfish with an eye.
Dude.
Okay.
James Gunn got DC to give him a buttload of money to make a trauma film, and it was awesome.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, it was a boo movie with a huge budget. I'm just saying, like, I was watching it, I'm like, they're fighting a giant starfish. He has a killer shark. It was so crazy. It's like, it just feels like James Gunn is like somehow tricking these studios into just letting him do fucking crazy things. Like I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is a trauma movie with a budget.
Yeah, you got a point.
So funny.
You got a point. I mean, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Another thing that me and the wife have been watching is the White Lotus series on HBO, and we're really, really enjoying it. It's just about, modern day people interacting on vacation on this at this resort in Hawaii, and there's a lot of just a really weird, crazy shit going on. Particularly the guy who runs the hotel is he's a relapsing drug addict, so like at night he particularly goes just freaking nuts, and it's hilarious. But I mean, Steve Zahn, Connie Britton, Alexandra Daddario, Molly Shannon is in it, and she plays a character that is just kind of like a really rich, privileged piece of crap. I never thought I would find myself hating Molly Shannon, but like I want to punch her in the face in this show. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. The Cocaine Cowboys. I mean, that took a lot of my time because there were hour-long episodes. So that's like, I think that was a 6 or 7 part series. I think so. But yeah, that's what I watched.
Excellent, Mike. What have you watched recently?
Well, I was biting my tongue through that Suicide Squad conversation because I too also watched Suicide Squad and I loved it. It's going to be a toss up between that and Shazam, but it might be my favorite DC movie so far.
You gave it 4 stars.
Oh.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Shazam yet.
But yeah, Tad's not
Comic
wrong.
Shazam's good.
Tad's not wrong. Basically, James Gunn got paid to make a billion dollar freaking trauma movie, and that's awesome because it's got all the violence and all the gore.
Yeah.
But man, I'm gonna tell you, man, like, as born comic book guy from the right out of the womb.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, and in this day and age, I was working on a joke and I opted not. So
I was just making sure you didn't have a stroke.
Right.
Jesus, really.
Do you smell oranges?
In this day and age of like all these comic book movies, comic book TV shows, and whatnot, and just comic books have bled into all the other forms of media. There's that part of me, that child part of me, that's like, man, this is cool and all, but I read comic books for people wearing capes and outrageous, ridiculous costumes, for no rhyme or reason. Let's not like put 20 pounds of Kevlar on the suit to rationalize why we're wearing this suit. No, I want freaking spandex that doesn't help you in a fight. I want the bright colors. I want the crazy ass characters, and this movie delivers 100%. I mean, they put Peacemaker in this movie, one of the most gaudy, ugliest superhero costumes in the history of comic books. I've read that character for decades, and I still don't know what that helmet is supposed to be.
Right.
And they did it. They did it freaking screen accurate.
Yes. To me, the whole situation, I just love the story behind it, because basically, like, James Gunn got, on Twitter, they found this was so long ago, but people found stuff he made. He got canned by Disney. They said no more Guardians 3. And literally the next day, DC calls, and they're in a rut. They're in a bad spot, and they see an opportunity, and they're like, James Gunn, would you be interested in working with us? And he's like, give me a little bit of time. I'm dealing with a lot of shit. And then like a week later, he calls, and he's like, what were you wanting me to do? And they're like, literally anything. We're not going to take any notes. Just do whatever you want. We are so desperate. Yeah. And he's like, can I just do Suicide Squad again? And they're like, sure. And he's like, can I bring back some of the people, but not all of them? And it's like, literally anything you want. And it's like, can I do Polka Dot Man and Weasel? And they're like, we don't know what that is. Sure. Do whatever. Like, seriously, do whatever. And like listening to him talk about it, he's like, when you watch this, it's just like, everything that you should not be able to do in a movie. Like Polka Dot Man and Peacemaker are characters that would be really hard to make, put on screen back in it. Like it would just be awful like 10 years ago. But James Gunn has that talent of taking these misfit characters and making them awesome. And they're doing the HBO series on Peacemaker now.
Yeah, he's getting his own freaking series for crying out loud.
Yeah. And they said that
Cena gonna do it?
Oh yeah, it's already done filming everything.
Oh god!
Apparently, so Cena loves the character so much that he would not take off the costume until he went to bed at night and then come back on set wearing it. Like he would wear it to dinner and wear it out with the rest of the cast. He just adores that character and loves being him. It's so much that James is like, we need to explore his backstory and make a whole series on it. So I part of me is like, I wish James Gunn would use his newfound fame and talents and sort of do something completely out there, but then who would fill this void of like really him and Taika are like doing the really weird stuff. So and of course Taika's in this. He's the first person he brought Marvel people over into DC. Like they were just like James Gunn is just sort of like, can I just bring over Marvel people too? And it's like DC. Apparently, like DC just did not even like visit the set, look at any notes. They're just like, here's a dump truck full of cash. Go have fun.
Here's the keys to the candy store.
Wasn't Taika in Green Lantern though? At first,
I don't know.
Was he? Oh,
I think he was.
Long since I've seen that movie.
I think.
And it was before I even knew who he was.
Try to forget about that.
Yeah, Hal Jordan's buddy.
Was that him?
I think that was Taika. Yeah.
Yeah. But man, oh yeah, just everything about it, I loved it, like beginning to end. Just the, and I knew how it was going to start out. You get all those Z tier characters coming up from the beach, and they just all get slaughtered. And it's fucking hilarious.
The detachable kid.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's so great.
Okay, Nathan Fillion.
It's so great because the hands fly up and they're just slapping the guys in the face, and then it cuts to Nathan
Harley
Fillion.
Quinn's like, what the fuck?
This was the best Harley Quinn so far, in my opinion.
Real. She
Margot
got a real ass scene.
Yeah, Margot is Harley Quinn. Like, there's no doubt.
She is, but I burned out quickly with her. I still honestly haven't finished Birds of Prey.
Oh no, that's
I
great.
love that too.
Yeah, it's just I feel like she
really
works.
like that.
I feel like she works better when she's part of an ensemble instead of leading the troops. And because this was perfect. This was perfect for her.
I didn't see Boomerang go so quick, though.
Yeah, that was a bummer, but I think I kind of get it because if you notice, other than Harley Quinn, everybody, and Amanda Waller, I guess, but everybody that they brought from the first movie gets killed in this movie. So it's kind of a way of tying it together without really having to acknowledge the first movie.
Killer Croc is still alive, and I think.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't in this one.
Well,
I'm just
yeah.
saying everybody that they brought over from
That
the first
returned,
movie.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
The scene where she unlocks herself, spoiler, like with her feet.
Oh fuck,
That was
man.
awesome.
That was actually Margot doing that in real life.
Wow.
Holy shit, nice.
Yeah, not a stunt double, not like they said that like almost all the stunts for Harley were done by Margot, like she insisted.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I love some of James Gunn's artistic choices, with like text in in the movie,
and like
blending
blood
that
and
into
fire,
yeah, or the
Flowers.
Creative.
Yeah, I was gonna say the flowers when Harlequin's shooting people and the flowers are flying everywhere. And man, I fucking saw a superhero movie where the main villain is Starro the Conqueror, a giant freaking starfish that's trampling buildings as if it's Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants, is destroying the city, and it's freaking awesome, and it works, and it's great, and they just
And how devastating was Polka Dot Man
Oh,
scene?
that was sad.
Jesus
Aw.
Christ.
Yeah, I was bummed to see him go
Very
because
bummed.
takes such a dumb, terrible character that even DC knows is a dumb, terrible character, and make him and you care about him by the time
Made us all
Yeah.
love him.
Maybe
So-
the funniest scene though was when they were like, "That's your mom, the big starfish."
Oh,
She's like full size.
She's King Kong in that fucking building.
So funny.
yeah.
what
The
was the guy?
wordplay-
Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
I was just saying the wordplay between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. I like when
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just when they're killing people.
It's so
love
competitive,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like not when you do it when you look dope as fuck.
Oh yeah, that scene where they are rescuing when they're on the rescue and they kill everybody. It's like, what happened to my people? Oh no, like those weren't.
Yeah, they
the bad
killed
guys.
They're actually on the same side. Yeah.
They killed all the freedom fighters, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
The other scene where they have the bigger dude, like there's just a dude following them with them, and he gets killed, and they're like, well, I don't remember his name. Like it was like
Milton.
Milton. Yeah,
Yeah.
Milton's dead. And Harley's like, who's Milton? There was a guy with us.
A guy with his name Milton? I would have remember a Milton.
Polka Dot Man was just like, he was with us the entire time.
I was a little scared that this would just be like Guardians for DC. I'm glad, but it was definitely darker. And since he got the R rating, I still prefer Guardians just because I love those characters a little more. But this is, James Gunn balls to the wall, R rated, blood guts, swearing. Yeah.
We should
It's
probably
different
move
enough.
on.
This week on the Suicide Squad cast.
Yeah, so yeah, I loved it. I knew this would generate a bit more discussion, so I don't have much else to talk about. I did a rewatch of Eating Raoul and The Brood because Brandy had never seen Eating Raoul, and I've only talked about it like
A million.
forever.
Yep.
I love that movie, and we went down the rabbit hole of HBO
Max.
and I was on the Turner Classic app on there, and so many fucking movies that I'm like, oh, we're gonna watch all of these. They have a lot of great movies on that Turner Classic app. So both of those were on there, so we rewatched those, and it's been a while since I've seen Eating Raoul. So much fun, so funny, so great.
Get the Criterion.
I've always really wanted it. I just never gone around to it. But that's what I watched.
All right, Jason, what have you watched?
Last night I liked my fantasy stuff. I watched The King. I thought it was really great. I had just skipped over it a million times on Netflix, and it's got Timothy Chalamet. It's the main guy. Joel Edgerton. Yeah. Oh, it's just a straight fantasy movie about Henry V and how he came to power, and it's just fantasy swords and slashings and kings and fun stuff. Mike's falling asleep. Okay, moving on. A pig. Oh my God! How could that movie make you cry so much?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Speaking of caring about something like Polka Dot Man, like, man, a fucking pig that, yeah.
This movie was awesome.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, man. It's wonderful.
And then you capped it off with a super uplifting episode of Dark Side of the Ring.
No, I'm done with that. On Hulu, they only have the 2 seasons, so I'm waiting for the 3rd to hit. But I did watch a super uplifting film called Don't Breathe 2.
Oh, yeah.
Man, awesome.
Yep, we had a little triple date with the family. It was Tina's birthday this last Thursday, Friday 13th, and so the 2 youngest kids had their people with them, and we all went out to dinner and went and saw Don't Breathe 2, and it was great. It was upsetting, but it was great.
Yeah, I'm sort of conflicted about it because it seems from the trailers that they sort of turn a like rapist into it.
Yeah, yeah, that part. Well,
but Sam Raimi said this is the best idea he's ever had for a sequel, which is saying a lot.
Oh, it's fucking solid as far as like it's more of the first one, but just as solid. It's really, really good.
Super tense.
You know it.
I was gonna say the first one was
Jesus
fucking
Christ,
tense.
right?
I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That first movie is so good.
So it's the same thing. He's got kind of this girl that he kept from the first one and kind of raising her. And so she's like he's kind of training her. So it's kind of a Pass the Torchy-ish type thing. There's him dealing with it carries from the first film. It's in there a lot, and there's some atonement, and there's some it's heavy and it's upsetting. I mean, it's just great.
I haven't heard much talk about it, so I'm hoping it doesn't like completely flop on its face. But yeah, I feel like it's just like we're back in this like huge wave again, where studios are like, oh shit, we should go back to streaming again. I'm really worried about like Halloween Kills. I mean, we have like in like a week we have Candyman, and that's totally going to get fucked. They would have had better luck doing it last year at this point. Box office numbers. I mean, Suicide Squad flopped hard at the box office, doing great on HBO Max, but it's like people are getting scared to go to theaters again, and I'm just like, fuck.
They played both Halloween Kills and Candyman trailer before Don't Breathe 2, and our theater was pretty full.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. Guys, I might be getting too old. I don't know about theaters.
Yeah, you are.
I get so fucking pissed at kids. Like it's no fucking fun.
Turn your fucking phones off, stop talking.
Yeah, how can those two things just...
That's why I try to go to afternoon matinees where I'm from. They have like the Saturday like afternoon show.
Yeah.
And normally I can get in there and there may be like 2 or 3 people in there. And it's pretty nice. I mean, I think I watched like Rambo Last Blood alone in the theater, and it was
Lucky.
fucking great.
Oh yeah, I watched that one alone too, and I that one was more so because I waited till like the last week it was out. But
it only took once of going there. They were doing that $5 Tuesdays forever. I don't know if they're still
don't
doing
fucking.
Yeah,
They
never
are.
it. They did it
Don't
once, and that's
do
all it took because it's filled with
the
fucking
worst.
kids.
The
Jesus
worst crowds. Yeah.
Christ, I hate
People
it.
just there to like get air conditioning for $5.
Pretty much.
So between that and the sad movie, I don't know if I'm emotionally stable to go to movies anymore. God dang.
I also think it's on theaters though too. Like, get in there and fucking you don't
Police
have
some
to.
shit.
You don't need a projectionist anymore. It's all automated.
Right.
So send that fucking kid into the theater every 5 minutes and tell people, get your feet off the fucking chairs, turn your fucking phone off,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up. Like, these other people paid to be here. Like, go outside if you need to use your phone.
There needs to be like, enforcers or bouncers and fucking they don't need ushers anymore. They need bouncers.
They worry so much about the theaters are dying, but it's like, then better regulate them.
You're
Anyways,
letting
that's a
them
whole
do-
different.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking
We could
daycare.
rant forever. I hate. It's too bad. It's
I get so anxious, like even before people do it, I'm like, oh, that kid's gonna be
I
a
know.
shithead, and I focus on that,
too
and I'm
close
like,
to teenagers. Oh fuck!
Yep,
They're right fucking
yep.
behind me, and they're not shutting the fuck up.
yeah. At the Green Knight, like this couple came in, and they were adults, but like I was the only person in the theater, sitting like the second row from the bottom, like sort of middle, and they come in, and I could hear them bickering about where to sit. She wants to sit up top. He's like, I want to sit in middle. And I overhear someone, I think it was him, he was sort of like, he won't care. And they sit in the row directly behind me, and it's stadium seating. So they're like, feet are like on both sides of my head. Like, it's an empty theater. You
Fuck
sit
off.
one seat to the right or left. Like, so I got up and moved, but I'm like, I hope that there's like no confrontation. Like, I don't want to fucking fight this guy over it. But it's like, you fucking disrespected me, so I'm going to get up and move. Like, no offense, but I don't want to smell your fucking feet the entire movie. Anyways.
And then the guy in front of me, he's like, as a parent, I get that your phone buzzes. You might have to check it. Okay, I'll let you have once. Check your phone. Make sure your kid's not, in a ditch somewhere. But then once you check your quick message don't just start going through Facebook and checking all your messages in the middle of the fucking movie. I'm like, oh my
What
God.
the fuck?
Especially a
are you
movie
even
like
there
that. Right.
What are you even
Especially a
there
movie
for?
like that. Yeah. We had a guy once in the middle of a movie, like he answered his phone, and then like my friend, yeah, and we said something to him, and then after the movie, he waited in the hallway for us and was like, "That was my daughter," and my friend Noah was with us, and he was like, if you have like a daughter is going to be trying to contact you, or you need to just step out. Like you couldn't talk to your daughter in the hallway. Like this guy thought we would be like, oh, it was your daughter? Okay, you should talk to her on the phone in the fucking theater. Like he thought that would be a good enough excuse. Like, no, dude.
Do I give a shit who it was?
Right.
Maybe we just need to start a support group because I'm going to need some encouragement.
Or we could just start renting out theaters ourselves, so we can just sit with only people we know.
Then we would talk the whole time. God damn it, we would.
We need a lighter note. We need a lighter note because this is getting my rage on too.
Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Hey, that's what I watched. Ted, what'd you watch, buddy?
Oh, I watched 124 short films at the Snake Alley Festival Film.
Me too. I didn't want
Yeah.
to list them all.
It was so good to see you two. And Andy, you were there in spirit because everybody every fucking year asks where you and Danielle are.
I know. Sorry, I tried to be very supportive online.
No, you were, and it's just
helps.
funny because Phil Poole, he asked, and I said, well, I talk to Andy almost every damn day, and I talk to him for 3 hours every other week. So, and he was surprised. Oh, you actually talk to Andy? I said I talk to Andy all the time.
You talk to that son of a bitch.
I said, here's our business.
We all wonder why.
I said, yeah, go listen to the podcast, and then he'll probably think differently of us. But no, I watched a bunch of short films. I did catch one movie outside of that. I watched Friday the 13th, the final chapter in a theater. That was fun. One of my favorites. And then again, I've been catching up with Dave on, I mention this every week, and I still am trying to get someone else to watch it. And here's my pitch this week. There was a special guest appearance on the latest episode, Mr. Jim Cummings, that you guys might know from Thunder Road and The Wolf of Snow Hollow. He played a bit part, like just a boyfriend without a name. And I was like, fucking Jim Cummings. I had to look it up on IMDb. I'm like, is that really? It looked like him. Yeah, that's him. But yeah, one of my Favorite shows, love it. So check out Dave. I don't think I've really watched anything else. I wanted to get to the theater this weekend to see Don't Breathe 2, but I had one night off since the film festival and used it to watch tonight's movies. So I got to make sure to get those watched. So that maybe this next week where I'm off, I'm going to binge some stuff. So that's what I watched.
Awesome.
Yeah, I figured that would be the deal, like just everybody having a hard time getting the movies watched for this one. So I picked some short films for this.
Oh yeah, really short. Yeah, this was like
Yeah.
I watched them all
particular.
one and I watched them all in one night. So
Yeah,
thank
easy
you.
to do. Yes, you're welcome.
Short homework.
That's right. Now it is time to vote for which podcaster you think is right in this episode's pole position with Jason.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
All right, let's take a quick look back for those of you who don't have Twitter. We're really just talking to Brian Clark, and we were going to look at episode 240. We were asked, what is your favorite TV horror anthology? Y'all remember your answers? I'll tell you. Insane Mike said, Creep Show.
Fuck yeah.
Jason said, that's me, says Tales from the Crypt. Fuck yeah. Tad says Masters of Horror. And,
Fuck yeah.
And Andy says Twilight Zone Original. Oh boy, a lot of votes. This was a close one. It really was.
Yeah.
Let's all right. Sorry, Andy, you got 15% of the votes.
And that was probably me voting for him
Yeah,
because that's my.
Oh. None of you purists out there, man. Jeez.
Me, I voted for you. I'm on.
Thank you.
Didn't even
Rod
give myself
Serling was
a-
the man.
It
Yes.
was.
Yeah, he
I
was.
don't doubt it. The people just don't agree. Well, tied for first. We got to do it this way. Tied with 31% of the vote. It's a shocker. Tad and Jason.
Bullshit. Oh, shit.
Oh, 23%, Mike. You got.
God damn it.
I thought Creep Show. You took off like a bat out of hell on the polls at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
Creep Show's kind of the one that's out right now, and
Yeah, it's trying to go.
and then people came to their senses and they chose mine and Ted's. Yeah, well, that's who won. Sorry, losers. All right, well, let's get into this episode's pole position. This is maybe the hardest and worst one of all time
Yes, I can't do it.
because
I'm out.
it was Ted's idea, and he's like, pick your favorite thing and that you hate everything else. He said, well, it's like, pick your favorite kid. He says, if you were trapped on a deserted island and you could only take one album, what would it be? Insane Mike, you're first.
No.
Yes.
Gosh.
Which
must
Weird
choose.
Al album are you bringing?
Right.
See,
Greatest
that's
hits?
That's
Is
the
that-
thing. I can't go with weird. Can I do the box set?
I
Album.
It's an album. I don't know.
Album. One disc.
I was gonna say that's albums.
There are 2-disc albums though.
Exactly. There are albums.
Double
Like-
albums.
Yeah.
They're trying to cheat and give us an answer.
So I'm not going with Weird Al just
That's
because.
shocking.
Just because I can't pick just one. It's impossible.
So you're never going to hear Weird Al again until you die on this island.
I'll kill myself on the island then, I guess, because if I can't listen to Weird Al over.
I'd go with Bad Hair Day.
That's yours. That's a pretty good.
If I had to choose one Weird Al album, I'm saying.
If this pole position was one Weird Al album, what would it be, Mike? That's still even. That's why you didn't pick it.
That's why I did. That's why I did not pick a Weird Al album because it would.
The Spy Hard soundtrack.
Because it would. Because it would be the next 10 minutes of like in 3D. No, Dare to Be Stupid. No, Polka Part. No. So do you really want that? We just got it anyway.
I want you tortured, yes.
the
But,
Johnny Dangerously soundtrack.
oh my gosh! So let the listeners know what beat out Weird Al.
Ouch,
You can't
not off.
phrase it that way. Here's the thing.
What album do you like more than Weird Al?
Based on the bonus episode, that if you're not an attacker,
Last
you don't
week's
know what I'm
episode,
talking about. So, I'm going to be kind of mysterious about it, but the same rules apply even more for me towards music than it would movies.
Repetition.
Yeah. And so it's really hard with music. Like,
God,
it is. I'm sorry. Like,
Spit it out.
there's some, fine. I'm going to go with Mr. Bungle's first album.
All right.
Self-titled album.
I can see that. It's just schizophrenic enough for you, I think.
It's
right?
probably one of the top 5 albums, other than a Weird Al album, that I have listened to constantly over and over again, from beginning to end. Not a bad track on the album.
Yeah, and if you get tired of a style, you just wait 10 seconds and it'll be a different one.
That's true, too. That's part of it as well. Yeah, it really.
Oh, it's such a good record.
Now you have me thinking, like, what if it was like a compilation?
Well, that's where I'm going to go next. You know what? It was hard. It was definitely hard. I want to pick my favorite. I want to pick Angel Dust by Faith No More.
Nice.
Which would be it, but it's not it. I thought to myself, if this was the last bit of music I was ever going to hear for the rest of my life, it made sense to me to pick. It's a compilation, so it's a cheat, but it's the greatest songs ever written. It's the album One by the Beatles. It's a compilation of all 27 of their number one hits from the beginning to the end. I have it. I love it. It's an amazing album. It's easy to listen to because it's their whole career. It's the greatest songs ever written. I could easily listen to them forever. So that was mine. Ted, did you figure it out? Is it oh man, Pet Sounds? What's it going to be?
For me?
Yeah. You're up, Ted.
Mine's pretty easy. I'm going to go with the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Yeah.
Perfect beach album. It has highs, lows. It helps me relax, but it also gives me emotions. It gives me joy. To me, it's the greatest album ever written. So yeah, Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Awesome. Andy.
Pretty easy choice.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is crazy difficult for me. A part of me wants to say, because I know if I'm on an island, I'll go progressively mad, so I might as well have something funny
to help.
So I was thinking maybe like the Tenacious D album.
Ooh,
but a part of me is like, since I'll be surrounded by water, I could have the song called The Ocean. So I'm leaning towards Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy.
Yeah. Rocky. Is that your official answer?
I guess that's my official answer. God damn it. I don't know.
Oh.
And it's got my favorite Zeppelin song on there, so
which is
Over the Hills and Far Away.
Oh, hell yeah. They're so good. They rock. Man, thanks, Ted, for the aneurysm. That's awesome. All right, everyone, get your butts over to Twitter at AOTKP. Get signed up for Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Go to AOTKP. Look at that poll and pick your position. Who got it best? Who picked the best album? That's pole position.
Now it's time to talk about the movies. It's time to get into our topic. Island horror. What movies are we going to talk about?
Where'd this come from?
Where'd this come from? Honestly, to segue to you, I guess, because it really stems from me finally forcing myself to watch this movie. So, Jason, what's our first movie for our topic tonight?
Our first movie is an awesome movie from 2012, Black Rock.
We're here. I'm happy, man. I'm happy. We're gonna go out to the island. We'll reconnect. It'll be so awesome. Yay! It's gonna be so good, guys. Just the three of us.
Whoa.
Hunters.
So what are you girls doing out here anyways? Nobody comes out here anymore.
You're lucky you didn't get shot.
I think I know that guy. We went to grammar school with your older brother, Jimmy.
Oh, okay,
Henry.
yeah. I think Jim had a crush on you back then.
So, you guys want to join us, maybe? So where do you guys all know each other from? I like your beard. She is friendly. That is something that she is. You got this whole look going on. Abby, you're married. I don't want you to worry about it. He's so cute.
How are you? Thanks.
I'm fine, right? I'm not an uptight bitch. Oh, God, Henry.
You all right?
Can you just get off me for a second?
I want to have fun.
Get off me, Henry.
What'd you do to him?
What happened? What happened? Is he hurt?
No. Get your gun.
What? You gotta tie up 3 girls to a tree to kill them.
Do you think I'm scared of you? We came out here to hunt. We'll just hunt them down.
They're gonna kill us. They're gonna kill us. They're gonna... We're on a small island. We need to get off. We need to figure out what to do.
We start being stopped. And we start stalking.
You did what you thought you had to do in order to survive. We can do this. We have to.
A camping trip on a Maine island turns nightmarish for 3 women, played by Katie Aselton, Lake Bell, and Kate Bosworth, when they encounter a group of violent war veterans. This was directed by Katie Aselton. We all love her from The League.
Woo, yeah, The League.
Oh, man, she's so good on there. If you haven't seen The League, it's a super awesome show starring the movie's writer, Mark Duplass. Very funny guy. What, The Creep? Is that it? Creep?
Yeah, Creep.
Just
Creep and Creep 2.
Yeah, he's a star of that, and he wrote this movie. I think they were they dating? They are dating? I don't.
They were already married.
Okay,
Weren't they?
so that helps tie that together. But yeah, man, this is a fun little thriller. I'll say it. I don't care. Be mad, but it is, right? No,
Mm-hmm.
It's not a thriller.
I like it.
yeah. This is my first time watch, and I don't know. I thought it was pretty intense. I thought all those girls were great. Some sad things happened. The dudes were also good. I thought the blonde skinny dude was actually pretty fucking scary, and
Yeah,
did
very
a good
off-
job of like
Unhinged.
being
Yeah.
unhinged.
yeah.
He probably
He sort of made me nervous from the get go.
yeah, no kidding.
He's going to be the one that is clearly not all there.
yeah.
But I mean, going into it without even seeing trailers and stuff, I just sort of knew, like, as soon as they ran into the hunters, it's like
Yep.
bad news. When,
Yep.
when you see them on the, it's like, okay, what's going to happen? But I will say, like, it felt like some stopping and just communication might have helped a little bit. Like, after she defended herself from being raped, spoilers, and killed the guy, like, no one asked what happened.
Accidentally.
No one asked what happened. It was just, he's dead, and now we must kill you. And it's like,
I don't think it would have mattered to the guys.
I don't know. Like, they didn't even try, though. They did no. Even the girls didn't ask what happened.
They
Like, and
they obviously have that guy on a high pedestal. If she would have screamed rape, they would have said that that there's no way
He
that
would
would
not
have
have-
happened.
he wouldn't be that
he
kind of
wouldn't have
guy,
done that. Yeah.
And I thought at first that the guys were like, they said we weren't actually going to kill them, and then something happened, and then they decided to do it. What was?
They got, like, too deep, I think.
Yeah, they just got in it too
Yeah.
far. But I thought they said they weren't going to, and then yeah, they started fighting back, and shit just went sideways.
Yep.
And it turned into a neat little survival thing. A lot of great setup. These, are clearly old friends getting together. They came to look for a buried, what do they call that thing?
Time capsule.
Time capsule that they put
Yeah.
there when they were kids. And you knew it would be part of it. And you're like, yeah,
Right.
thank God you all figured that out and got
Little-
back together.
yeah.
And
a little bit of they added that little bit of backstory to one, make us care about these characters. There was two girls that had problems with each other, and we learn later in the movie that they had some kind of infidelity, like one took the other's boyfriend, and they still both were holding on to that animosity between each other. And all it took was a couple of dudes with guns hunting him down to solve that really quick. It was like, okay, we can put our differences aside and not get killed. That would be cool.
Fast.
And then they rekindled their
friendship. And then they really had that moment. Yeah.
But they rekindled their friendship by digging up treasure naked.
Yep.
We've all been there, guys.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how me and Jason became friends.
That's right.
It's got a great sort of Lord of the Flies meets Death Proof kind of vibe.
I like all three of the girls. I wanted to just pre-defend Kate Bosworth. I throughout the first half of the movie, she's like really kind of quiet and emotionless. That's the word. And I mean, I'm like,
what do you mean when the shit hits the fan? Or
even up to that, even during some of that, she kind of comes off. She's kind of speechless, but I felt like that her character was just like that friend that we know or ourselves where shit's going wrong and you want to say something, but you just kind of be quiet.
Yeah.
And I thought she was being quiet through a lot of them, even when they're bickering between each other before shit happens. And she just wants to,
she doesn't like confrontation.
Yeah. And I thought, it wasn't just her being a bad actress. I thought she was doing a really good job.
I thought she was great.
Yeah.
She's like
you have the most.
She has the most boring role probably of the three.
She's stuck in the middle between her two best friends who hate each other.
Seems like a very passive mediator, which she was trying to set up, but she's like, well,
and that's not a glorious role to play in a movie. But I just thought she did great at it. I don't know.
She was great in her performance. Her character is horrible at trying to patch up this friendship. She can't. She's not.
She just wants them to sort of get over it and move on without any efforts or talking about it, which I can sort of relate to. That's sort of how I am in life. So, I
mean, right from the get go, they're at the dock.
Oh man,
and they're talking about leaving, and she claims to have cancer. To try to get him.
Shit?
I know exactly. I'm like that.
It worked.
It worked, but wow.
Oh my. It's clear she didn't.
Well, of course it worked. That's like nuking a house trying to get rid of a cockroach, man.
I really liked it. I thought, like you said, you need a balance of the characters. You can't, every group of friends has like the quiet one, the loud one that's confrontational, and then the smart one or whatever, and they had a good balance there. And I always liked Duplass's writing. Like I think he's really good. I thought this was really actually pretty, I don't know how to explain it, like sort of vanilla for him, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It just felt like some of the stuff he writes is either like creep and stuff's like so extreme and different and really stands out. This is like his sort of almost like an attempt at like a mainstream.
Right. It's generic in a not bad way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not.
Katie directed it though. Yeah. I mean, did he write it for her to direct?
I think he did.
Probably.
I think it was her story. He did the screenplay, and then she directed. But I think they were involved together on the screenplay.
Well, they work well together.
Oh yeah, they always have. Even though, like on The League, they're not even. It's so weird to know that they're married. They're married in real life, and they are not the couple in the show. Yeah,
well, it's like Mac and Dee on It's Always Sunny are married in real life, but he just treats her like complete shit on the show. But no, it like to me is you look at the other stuff, and this was like this outside of maybe the nude scene, like this is something that is like the most absorbable. Like it's something that you could your like your aunt and uncle would be like, oh, I saw that one. Like I said, outside of that scene. But I think that scene is so important because makes him very, very vulnerable.
Oh man,
I have a feeling that maybe the film was constructed from that and was like reversed.
Started with that scene,
started
yeah.
with that concept. Because you're right. Like these two women, middle of the night,
They're not prepared.
freezing to death, no weapons. And how can you make them even more vulnerable to their situation? Oh, let's make them completely naked. I think it feels like that is the crust of this whole movie, and it was like workshopped after that initial idea. Because it's very impactful and does create so much vulnerability with those characters.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where I joked with you guys before. I'm like, oh, I remember hearing about this movie because of the nude scene, but it's not like an 80s horror movie where it's like, hell yeah, titties. Like this is like, like this is uncomfortable. Like
poor girls.
Yeah, this is like,
done out of necessity, not out of eroticism.
Exactly. It's not sexual in any way. It's more just vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dug it.
Yeah, it's good. I agree with the generic. That it feels like it got lost in the shuffle, and you can see why. Because it's not like reinventing the wheel or anything, but it's still a good watch, fun watch, and it's short. It's less than an hour and a half.
I got 80 minutes.
Okay.
One says, hour 23. Another spot.
And to be honest, like, because it goes right out of the gate. To be honest, I think they could have maybe hit the hour and a half mark if they would have padded the begin. I could have taken more of the beginning of them and their friendship and their relationship and trying to, fix the relationship and all that stuff before we get to the horror part. I would have been fine with another, 5-10 minutes of that.
Yep.
I feel like maybe that was one thing that maybe the movie for me was lacking. Just a little bit more. I mean, I cared about the characters, but
definitely.
I just feel like I needed maybe a little bit more before we got to that.
Yeah, not something I'll, ever really throw on again. Is fine. It is good. I liked it. It's a one watcher for me.
I did find myself, it's not a gripe really, but at the end I'm like, why didn't you bring your friend back with you on the boat?
Oh, yeah, I thought that too.
Why isn't
I expected to see her dead body like in a covered in a sheet or something on the boat.
She gets shot and then they go away from it immediately. So there's a tiny part you're like, maybe she's okay. There's a chance,
Well, I think that has to do with like the writing and the performances because you care about her, that you want her to be okay.
Yeah, there was.
I forgot about that boat scene at the end where they're riding back. They're all bloody and badass looking. Like, we just went through hell and back, and we stole this boat.
Didn't bring their friends. Yeah, so I was like, well, that was weird, but anyway, it wasn't a big deal. But it's good though.
Yeah,
and we watched it on.
I watched it on Tubi.
Tubi.
Yeah.
Black Rock 2012 on Tubi.
Yeah. Andy, what's our next movie?
Our next movie from 1932?
Yes.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Is The Most Dangerous Game.
Doesn't Brank Island mean anything to you?
There's something wrong.
I'm not trying to break in, but I've been in a wreck.
Welcome to my poor fortress. This is Mr. Robert Rainsford, who hunts big game so adventurously.
Glad to meet you.
We barbarians know that it is after the chase and then only that man rebels.
That's the savage's idea everywhere.
One night as I lay in my tent, a terrible thought crept like a snake into my brain. Hunting was beginning to bore me. What I needed was not a new weapon, but a new animal.
You found one?
Yes.
You take half-drowned men from ships you wreck and drive them out to be hunted.
And if one eludes me only till sunrise, he wins the game.
You murdering rat! I'm a hunter, not an assassin.
You killed!
Precisely, yes.
We can keep ahead of them that long.
Coming down.
One passion builds upon another.
Back here.
To date, I have not lost. Here on my island, I hunt the most dangerous game.
Okay, after their luxury cabin cruiser crashes on a reef, Bob Rainsford finds himself washed ashore on a remote island. He finds a fortress-like house with the most ornate door knocker I've ever seen. And the owner, Count Zaroff, seems to be quite welcoming, apart from Zaroff's servant Ivan, who looks like friggin' Rasputin. The only other people present are Eve Trowbridge and her sloppy drunk brother Martin, also survivors of their own shipwreck. Other survivors are missing, however, and Rainsford soon learns why. Zaroff releases them into his jungle island, then hunts them down in his grisly outdoor chess game. Then, after Martin disappears, Bob realizes that he and Eve are to be the next pawns in Zaroff's deadly game. This Zaroff character, he sets the light buoys off course, and all these ships will eventually go crash into the coral reef, and they will capsize, and they'll be shipwrecked, and that's how he gets his people, so he can hunt them down and doing his most dangerous game. He's got a scar on his head that he likes to stroke a lot. Probably he probably strokes that more than he strokes the other thing. But basically, this movie has, I think, influenced. So the one movie that comes to mind, and I'll get back on course here, but I've got this in my head. There's a movie called Surviving the Game with Rutger Hauer and Ice-T, and I can't remember the other actors, but Gary Busey is also in it, and there is actually there are these hunters that they hunt down Ice-T, because he's a homeless guy, and they say they're going to pay him, and they just take him out the middle where and they try to hunt him, So I mean the similarities are obviously there. There's even a trophy room with heads in it, just like this guy's trophy room. This Zaroff characters, and I just remember Busey, like the trophy room's on fire, and Ice-T's back gets burnt, and he's just like, I like my meat rare, and he just pulls him away. But this is I really enjoyed this one. It's got I thought towards the end, he was going to get caught in like that predator tree trap, but I mean, Zaroff is, he's pretty keen on his surroundings, and he's sensing all these traps.
He's a pro,
right?
He's been here, done that.
Yeah. I don't really know much more to talk about. I know that when they shipwrecked, I mean, you got to be you got to give them a little bit of leeway here because this was filmed in the 30s, but some of the dialogue is hilarious. This snake in my brain thing that you heard on the the trailer, and I swear to God, when that captain was like holding on to the door, like in Titanic with Jack and Kate Winslet or whatever.
Oh yeah, he could have climbed up, like the sharks are right under him. Like, get up on the fucking door.
Yeah, and he says, "Oh, it got me!" And then he just goes down. I pressed pause because I was laughing my balls off.
Yeah,
that is literally the funniest line in the whole movie. Just the way
bad delivery. Yeah,
the way he delivers it, and then he just goes, "Ah, it got me!" Just goes.
It
down.
gets a fucking shark is attacking you, and he's like casual, like, "Ah, you got me!" And then he slowly gets pulled under.
It's awesome.
Like, they're not. I was noted that too. I'm like, why aren't they freaking the fuck out?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's literally, after that he's just hunting. He hunts these two people down, and then eventually, they say, well, what if I don't wish to be hunted? Well, we'll just torture you. Well, a lot of good that's going to do. If I'm tortured, I can't really be that much of a dangerous game, but hey, whatever. I'm along for the ride here.
Yeah.
Guy's got a lot of hunting dogs. Like, he's got like a whole fucking kennel. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very short film. We're talking like what, an hour and 2 minutes?
Yeah, basically an hour a minute.
Just a little over an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it credit. It takes right off. I mean, the ship crashes. He gets to the island, and the Ivan dude smiles really weird, and that was funny too. Yeah, I don't have much to say. I mean, except that these people were hunted, and one of my
this is
lines
based on a book, right?
Yeah, this was originally a book.
Oh, I do remember what I wanted to say. This movie's kind of a tip of a cap to our past episode on the Zodiac, because the Zodiac in one of his letters actually says, "I like to hunt people. It's the most dangerous game."
Mm-hmm.
He actually said that in one of his ciphers, and they actually found the book, like you mentioned before, Tad, in one of the suspects of the Zodiac's houses. So, little food for thought. Anyway, I'll quit, babbling. You guys go ahead.
It made me think of like you said, influence, like Get Duked recently.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
Ready or Not to a degree. The rich basically hunting the poor.
The
But not-
Hunger
I mean,
Games.
Yeah, like I guess the hunter in this isn't really necessarily poor, but it's like this guy who basically owns this big ass mansion, hunts people for game. For 1932, holy shit, man!
Right?
Like I was pretty blown away. I mean,
Pretty
it's
impressive.
not my favorite movie of all time, but it's like for thinking of 1932, I bet people lost their shit watching this.
Yeah.
It's seriously a dark tone, and it's pretty thrilling for 1932. Just amazing to think someone had the gall to read that book and think, oh, this could make a motion picture.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say either. You guys haven't said already. I thought it was really awesome this is probably the second thing I've seen Fay Ray in, so it was nice to see her. In something else.
What was the other one?
King Kong.
I'm joking.
Oh.
Come on, everybody knows her name from that.
Yeah.
This has two directors though, Irving Pitchell and Ernest Shodazak. That's
Cool
interesting.
movies have two directors. So.
Yeah, that's right. The actual directors of King Kong. See, this movie was filmed on the same sets as King Kong, pretty much back to back. They filmed King Kong,
David
and then
Selznick film.
they turned around and made this movie as well. And it has 4 of the same actors from King Kong as well. So not only Fay Ray, but there's Robert Armstrong, James Flalin, and Nobel Johnson. So it was back to back. So you'll see a lot. If you really study both films, you can when you watch Most Dangerous Game, you're like,
jungle stuff. Yeah.
King Kong's going to step out any minute. Now, what's to say about this movie, man? It's a classic. It's hard. Personally, all 3 of these movies, I was nervous because I'm like, they're good movies. I don't feel like I have a lot to say about them.
I never heard of this, and then it's on HBO Max, and the Criterion popped up. I'm like, oh, this is in the Criterion collection, so I was not aware it was considered a classic.
It's got a pedigree,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a classic. The book was a classic, and I mean, there's the saying and like as far as fiction and literature that there's only 7 stories. I feel like this is probably one of the 7, because this concept has been done over and over and over again throughout the years. You guys mentioned a bunch of them already, and I could probably if I thought about it hard enough, could probably come up with another 10 to 15 more.
Yeah, for sure.
So the concept is classic, and it's done really well here. It may be a bit dated, just in the fact that this story
like
is
100 years.
Well, there's that, but just the fact that the story has been done over and over and over again. That going back and watching the original may come off as a bit dated, but I don't care. It's still really good, and if you just put yourself in that mindset of 1932, like Tad said, this had to have been such a shocking film. I was reading that this movie is pre-code 1932 American pre-code horror film. So I have a feeling like this movie got away with more than it did once they started once they started paying attention to that stuff. So I wonder if and there was even, I think, the movie is really short. I think there was maybe like another 5-10 minute scene or something like that I read that they shot within his trophy room that was even longer.
Yep, I'm reading that now on IMDb. It said they had like heads in jars, they thought was okay, but when they started showing the full body figure stuffed, and 2 of the hunting dogs mounted with a death grip, that audiences got up and left.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So they cut those scenes down. And then the actor who played Ivan the Cossack was Noble Johnson, a multi-talented Black American who was childhood friend of Lon Chaney. This is the earliest known instance of a Black actor playing a Caucasian character.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whiteface.
Oh, my. Jason, did you get to say everything you wanted to say?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because there wasn't much. I don't know. It's not that it was forgettable. I'm glad. I mean, I knew the history of this concept. It was very popular and many movies based on it. So I was really happy to check it off the list of where it kind of came from. So,
Yep. Absolutely. And you can just, I mean, it's such a cool concept, even to this day. So many
I don't know
things
about
you could
cool,
do.
but yeah,
fun story.
Murdering humans. That's great. It's a good
not
time.
fun to probably be a part of, but watching a movie on
Entertaining,
it.
yeah.
Yes. Okay, Tad, what's our last movie?
We're going the opposite way, all the way to 2020. The third movie is Caveat.
I have a few days' work for you if you're interested.
Doing what?
Babysitting. My brother died last year. He had a daughter, Olga. She keeps going out to the house where he died. The place is in the middle of nowhere, and I don't like the idea of her being out there on her own.
So 200 a day. Just to go to the house and keep her company.
That's it.
There's got to be more to it than that. You didn't say anything about the house being on an island.
Come on. What's the big deal?
Does anyone know you're here?
Barrett said he killed himself.
In the basement.
Is there someone down there?
Are you going to tell anyone what I asked you to do?
She was mad.
I wouldn't do something like this.
Do you think he's gonna let you leave here?
You really made a mess of this.
All right. A lone drifter suffering from partial memory loss accepts a job to look after a psychologically troubled woman in an abandoned house on an isolated island. This would have fit in our babysitter episode as well.
Oh, yeah.
Worst fucking babysitting job ever. This poor man, he's handed 37 red flags, and he still accepts the worst fucking job of all time. Yeah, just come watch this girl. It's not a big deal. You don't even have to talk to her. Oh, and when you're here, you have to fucking take a boat to her. And when you get inside, you have to put on this ancient leather vest that locks you to a chain where you can't reach her. The only way to get to a phone is put your hand through a fucking hole in the wall. She carries around a stuffed bunny. She has a fucking crossbow. It's not worth it, bro. Like, $200 a day, more like $200 a minute, and I'm still not doing it. Fuck you. This movie's creepy, but really good Irish folk horror, written and directed by Damien McCarthy. Very psychological too, because this drifter apparently knows these people, but he doesn't remember them. and it sort of fucks with our mind. Like we're trying to figure out if we missed something or that we're supposed to know something. It gets a little confusing at times, but I thought it was the quietness of it, the stillness. When it does bring the scares, it really brings the scares. Like when he's in the basement and looks through the hole in the wall. Yeah. And makes a few phone calls and things do not get better. I don't know what he was thinking. He was going. The guy put you in this position. Why would you call him for help? He threw you in this house and chained you in a fucking vest. He is not the one to call, bro. As someone who does not like swimming themselves, I'm like, that would be the first red flag when we get there and you have to take a boat. I'd be like, all right, I'll find a different job. I will do anything before I do this. So
even with all those red flags, I still thought this guy did it better than most movies on saying no. I mean, he ultimately didn't, but he said no way more than most people do in movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he said fuck you quite a few times.
Yeah.
And then he climbs in the vest.
Yeah,
there's no way you would have got me in that goddamn harness.
Nope.
No way.
Nope.
Times
No
are tough.
fucking way.
Times are tough.
Not
Must
that
be.
tough.
She just sits on the bed with her eyes closed anyway. It's fine.
This chick is playing peekaboo with a crossbow. Okay, this is not good. All I gotta say is, okay, say you got me in that vest, right? As soon as I saw that painting doing that bug-eyed Barbara Steele fucking Black Sunday shit,
Yep.
I would have. I don't give a shit if I couldn't swim. I'd be Michael Phelps across that fucking water. I don't care if I was chained down. I would have towed the goddamn island to the mainland. Fuck that. I'm gone. And there is something so insanely creepy about a completely dead corpse, but with like light in its eyes.
Yeah.
The eyes are completely alive. I mean, that corpse was the money shot for the whole movie. I mean, it never really moved, but every time you looked away, you knew that it was doing something. And when it panned back, I mean, I was just like, I was so tense because when he looks over his shoulder, you know that corpse is going to be in a different position. And I was just like,
fuck.
God damn, this is good. Fuck.
It was all.
I thought it was a great movie. I mean, it had elements of it had a very it needs to tip its cap to The People Under the Stairs with within the walls and all this and that, but that's probably like the only similarities there are. But
it was all about the evil Energizer Bunny to me. That little fucking doll was creepy.
It was almost like a
what the fuck is it?
It's a homing device. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
it's just like.
But how's that make sense?
I don't know, but it works.
I know, and that's what creeps me out. Oh, Mike, why'd you hate this movie?
I didn't hate it.
Oh, okay. You were just quiet there for a minute.
I take issues with it. I think you guys liked it better than I did.
I know we did, yeah.
I loved it.
Did it get a little too close to A24 land for you?
It was too slow.
I think it was. It was too slow. But I don't want to be the guy who screams it's too slow. I'm gonna just straight up blame pacing. I feel like there are moments in this movie that could have been far more impactful if the pacing had been better. Maybe the edit would be better. Because the reveal of the fact that the guy had been at the house before. What I wasn't really impacted by it. I'm like, that's interesting. And not like, it wasn't like a big old reveal surprise slap in the face moment for me.
He left his brother's Thriller jacket there.
Yeah. And the ending, which it saved the movie for me, but I still feel like that could have been paced or edited a bit better, because it totally when he's on the intercom, well, in spoilers, when he's on the intercom and he's like, "Hey, I got out," but that saw is still going through the drywall, and you're like, "Oh shit," and then when the body just starts kind of creeping around the corner there,
oh fuck,
it totally reminds me of, like, I think one of the creepiest dead body scenes in cinema history, which is in Black Sabbath with the woman in the bed, and how when it gets up and moves, it's moving, but it's not moving. Like, the body is physically moving, but it's not like alive or anything.
It's in a different
the arms
position.
It's
not moving.
And so it's doing the same thing here, and I thought that was really cool. But then I just felt like they cut away from it too quick. Like everything else is so drawn out, but then the stellar moment of this whole movie, and I'm not saying this from like a money shot type of mentality, like, oh, I just want to see this cool looking dead body. I just think it would have been creepier if it just lingered on it just a little bit longer, of this dead body staring down this guy, kind of like what Bava does in Black Sabbath. But it was a good movie. The bunny thing was creepy and interesting. I thought the creepiest character was the niece or whatever. Just those scenes when she's just frozen, covering her face. Like they're in the dark, and that one scene where they're in the dark and she's just there covering her face, I thought was really disturbing. I just thought it could have been paced better.
You hated it. Just say it. It's fine.
Hate it. No, it was good. So I guess that's it then, right?
Oh.
Those are the films for Island Horror.
Watch them.
Yeah, watch them.
And this was on Shudder. Hashtag
there you go, Shudder.
Sponsor.
Yes. And so you can watch it with your free month when you enter our promo code AOTKP.
That's right, they can.
That's right. Oh, so that's it for the topic, but don't worry, there's still more show to come. Coming up is going to be the segments. But first, we're going to take a quick break and listen to a promo for our podcast network called the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. The PFPN now has 27 shows on the network.
Yeah.
I ran out of fingers and toes to count how many shows are on this network.
So we're going to start cutting them. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
And there's a little bit for everybody on the PFPN. Do you like local indie music? Check out Brutal Breakdown. Can't get enough of the eerie, macabre, and horrific? Then you need to listen to Beauty and the Scream. You can check those shows out and all of them at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the show. Have you ever found yourself listening to a podcast and caught yourself talking back to your phone or whatever device you're listening to the show on? Well, now you can actually be heard. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite... Well, okay, here's the thing. I worded it one way, and then I needed to change it. The actual wording is, what are your favorite horror movies that take place on an island? The first way I worded it kind of made it like, what are your desert island films?
Yeah.
And that's what Derek Botello, he put first. And if that was the question, his answer would be, because I appreciate him writing in, he said, Rosemary's Baby, Nightmare on Elm Street, Tenebrae, Psycho, and Creepshow. My goodness.
I did not see your first wording, so I only saw his response to the second one, and I'm like, we need to check on him.
Yeah.
No, Jason's right. The wording was a little... Because I read Derek's as well, and I'm like, what? And then I reread your question. I'm like, oh, yeah, I see where he could...
Yeah, it took me a while, and then it took Brian writing me. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, I see what happened. Okay. And then speaking of Brian Clark, he says... Brides of Blood, Mad Doctor of Blood Island, Beast of Blood, Island of Death, Blood Tide, Zombie.
All movies that I considered putting on the list, but I spared you guys. That's a great freaking list, and all I got to say about Island of Death is it's a good time for some goat fucking.
Oh, okay. That's next. We got Jonathan. His new podcast, Twitch of the Death Nerve. That's Jonathan. Used to be on Late Night Psychorama. He posted Zombie, Who Can Kill a Child?
Another great movie.
And Matango, Attack of the Mushroom People. And then Brian says, God damn it, how did I forget about Matango?
I know, Brian, I'm disappointed.
And then Jonathan says, well, we both forgot about Shockwaves.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, too.
Yeah. And then Tim Lennerer, he jumps on, he says, am I actually the first person here to say The Wicker Man? The original one, not the remake. Summer Isle is a fantastic location and a superlative sleepy little town with a secret. Honorable mentions to Island of Terror, The Flesh Eaters, The Most Dangerous Game, Terror is a Man, and Attack of the Crab Monster.
I'm trying to remember. I always get confused on some of those. But I think Island of Terror, I think I did as in the Saints Pick years ago. The awesome Peter Cushing movie with like these little like stingray type creatures that slither around and kill people. It's awesome.
And he says also technically any horror movie set in Japan is set on an island, but that's probably not what you were shooting for.
Or any Australian movie.
I say, how would you be confused when you have death, island, and blood, and just rearranged in every possible way?
Yeah.
Well, they're not done yet. Brian Clark's back. He says, I knew I was going to forget some obvious ones. In fact, I just fucking remembered another one. Goddamn motherfucking Jaws.
Yeah.
He used all them words.
Amity Island, yeah.
And he says, Tim's back. He's like, England and Australia are also islands.
Oh,
so
Jesus
Quatermass
Christ, you guys.
and the pit technically fits the criteria. So does Razorback.
Get your own podcast.
I think Tim's
Pissing contest, man. Shit.
I think Tim's done, but Brian comes back a little later.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah. Abe from Brett, Tony, Ash, and Abe says, oh, and it's a great one that we love. Lost Soul, the doomed journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah.
It's actually a documentary, but the Australian set of the Island of Dr. Moreau was a horror show of battling egos, drug-fueled orgies, and a missing director. It's another questionable answer, but it's where my brain went. Good job, brain of Abe. We got attacker Brian Godsill says, I'm surprised Brian Clark didn't say almost every Godzilla movie. Japan is an island after all. So they stirred up Brian. Here we go. So Brian Clark says, true, but there are only two of them I'd consider to be horror related, and I don't want to be too obvious. Matango was made by the same creative team and stars tons of familiar Toho faces. Godsill says, sounds like I need to give that a watch. Clark says, indeed you do. It might still be on Prime. Good.
Stop reading the answers. You're encouraging this behavior.
I know.
I love it.
Yeah. So that was in the Facebook group edition. Over on the main page, let me get this out of the way. Oh, gosh, look at that comment from Don. Okay, so we got attacker Rod Hutchinson. He says, 1945's Isle of the Dead with Boris Karloff. A group of people who are self-quarantining to prevent spreading of the plague. Sounds kind of familiar. Tad says, now I got to see this. Did you see it?
No.
No.
Not yet.
The Reebster! Mike Reeb says, Shockwaves is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And I unironically friggin' love Horrors of Spider Island. So much so that I bought the Severin Blu-ray.
That is a classic. Jason, you should watch that one. There is a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode.
Oh, I'll totally watch it. Horrors of Spider Island. Got it. Our pal Don Anelli, superstar promoter Don Anelli. Awesome guy who does lots of forwarding and posting, and we love him and all that he does, Don. He says King Kong is the obvious choice, although the stuck part is put to the test in the third act. The Philippines set Mad Dr. Monster mashup Super Beast is a lot of cheesy fun, Super Beast, and some above mentioned Shockwaves, which is a must watch. A funny story, he says. I'll try to be brief. Concerns the film After Dusk They Come and The Lost Tribe, concerning a group of people who wash ashore on a remote island with a scientist conducting research on a genetically mutated primitive human ancestral species which gets loose and goes crazy killing anyone it can. The film was originally shot as The Lost Tribe, but was hacked up in a post-production to the point that most of the original cut was discarded and ordered reshot. But with the cast having moved on to other projects in the interim, were unable to fully restore, forcing the reshoots to be done with a new cast. When that was deemed sufficient, it was released as After Dusk They Come, although some territories used The Forgotten Ones, which is this movie here. And realizing that they had hit in several markets, went back in, reassembled the original Lost Tribe footage into an acceptable cut, and released that, making both films available to the public based on the same exact premise with a different cast. The end.
I was going to say,
Good
I have to
story,
get
Don.
Jason, I wasn't paying attention. Could you read that again?
Moving on, we got Marcus Rude from the Rude Horror Podcast on the PFPN. He says, I'll tell you one that's not my favorite, House of the Dead.
Yui Bowl.
I like House of the Dead. It's so bad. It's awesome.
Ellie Cornell will never be the same after that.
Marcus also says, as for favorites, Jurassic Park, hands down.
There you go.
But Zombie 2 has to be up there for adult horror. Yeah.
What, like porn?
You know what, Jason?
Oh, what?
I'm disappointed.
What happened?
There's one very important movie that no one has mentioned yet.
Uh-oh.
You know what I'm talking about.
What's that?
Zombie Doom.
That's because we're all trying to forget about it. All right, let's move on over to Twitter. We got Fried Squirm Podcast, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, The Wicker Man, 1973. Thanks, Fried Squirm Podcast. Fried Squirms Podcast. Don't want to get that too wrong. That's Danny and Tyler. They're Fried Squirms Podcast, dedicated to rambling on about horror films. Sounds pretty cool. And then we got Ashlyn, and that's Ashlyn of Brett and Tony with Ash and Abe. She says, she says, Shutter Island has always been one of my favorites. I really like a psychological thriller. Sorry, Mike.
What are you doing?
In parentheses, sorry, Mike. She knows.
Don't apologize.
That's right.
Big capital letters in thriller.
Yeah. And then lastly, over on Twitter, that was on Instagram. This is on Twitter. We got The Attacker, Brian Godsill. He's back. He says, how about Turkey Shoot from 1982, even if that is a spoiler. And,
it's a Railsback movie, right?
And April Fool's Day.
Hussey. Ooh, yeah, April Fool's Day. That's a good one because that was on an island. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And what about It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive? That one's awesome.
Well, what about Island of the Islands? I was just trying to say island more.
How about Thousand Island Dressing?
My favorite of the islands.
You know what? You guys
are we done here? All right.
You guys are lucky.
I hope so. Jesus Christ.
I wanted to do that new Fantasy Island movie for this episode, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh man, I wanted a reason to watch it.
Me too. That's why I wanted to do it for the show.
Dang it.
Well, we picked short movies and didn't have a whole lot to talk about, but good thing we had 700.
Yeah, thanks for all the comments, the
awesome,
shout outs, guys. And you can also leave us a voicemail so you can get your voice
Please don't,
on
Brian.
the show. Brian, you need another turn.
Yes.
All the Brians.
Brian, please.
All the Brians. Give us a call, 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. We'll hear from you soon, Brian. And that is shout outs.
In acting, there are no small parts, only small actors. Well, in this case, there are no small parts, but there is recasting with Christian Slater.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to another episode of Recasting with Christian Slater. After Busey's naked hummus fiasco at Chuck E. Cheese, he won't be joining us this week. I'm sure he's telling his probation officer all the joys of pogo stick sex as we speak. Although I hear the Automobusey is out of impound, so things are looking up. We're hitting rewind this week as we visit two films we've covered in previous shows, Rob Zombie's Halloween and Friday the 13th Part 5. Starting with Halloween, let's get to know our readers. Reprising his role as Ronnie is our series mainstay and resident son of a bitch, Don Knotts. Say something stupid, Donnie.
Oh, that's real fucking funny, pencil dick. If you're so goddamn smart, why are we stuck doing the same asshole show?
Well, if I can break the fourth wall here, it's because some jerk-off can do both our voices.
Good point.
Reading the role of Deborah Myers and progressively losing his innocence and purity with each episode is Bullwinkle Moose. How you doing, Bullsy?
I am well, Christian. I look forward to becoming the character of Deborah for you.
Don't go all method on us, Bullsy. She eventually puts a gun to her head and pulls the trigger.
I'm a fucking moose, bitch. It's not like I've ever been shot at. Some of my relatives are hanging on walls.
Jesus, that got dark. Reading for the role of Judith Myers is our favorite evil overlord of Eternia, Skeletor.
Yes, for it is I!
Oh, God, will you give it a rest, will you? You want entrance music and fucking pyro, too?
I never get to do anything!
Oh, boo-hoo, you bony prick! I've been trying to leave since day one!
Fine, it's me, Skeletor.
Rounding out the cast and trying to regain his clout from Busey scaring the shit out of him is the Prince of fucking Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, reading the part of young Michael Myers.
Jackie boy, promise me that fucking psychopath isn't here. I've had nightmares about sheep and nacho cheese for a fucking week.
I assure you, Ozzy, that Gary nor any sheep or nacho cheese are around.
You're a good egg, Jackie boy. I think you and Angelica Houston should get back together.
Thanks. Me too. I'll be reading the part of Judith's boyfriend, Steve. Let's get going. Interior, Myers' house, night. Michael sits on the couch in his clown costume watching TV. A buzzed Ronnie is sacked out in his recliner drinking beer. Several empty cans are scattered on the floor around him.
Hey, clown! Psycho boy! Cat killer! Do you really torture and kill all them worthless animals, boy? Make you feel like a real badass motherfucker killer, huh? That is some deep-ass serious pussy shit, man.
Judith, I'm gonna be late.
Judith, I'm gonna be late. You really are a whiny little bitch, you know that?
Deborah enters wearing a skimpy outfit.
Ronnie, knock it off!
Ma, Judith is wasting all of my time.
Michael crosses the room and Ronnie swipes at him.
I really shouldn't let you go after that shit you pulled at school.
Oh, Ma, please.
All right, Michael, calm down. You know, tomorrow things are going to change around here, so I suggest you live it up tonight.
Michael nods approvingly.
Judith!
Deborah hands Michael his winter jacket.
Here!
Michael slips on his jacket as Judith descends from the stairs.
What?
Would you do me a favor and please take your brother trick-or-treating?
Why don't you have that subhuman slut over there on the couch do it?
Ronnie slips Judith the bird from the living room.
You know, if I could get that lazy drunk off his fat ass, I would.
Bitch, if you don't think I'm making a mental note of a list of all of your fucking bullshit.
Deborah ignores Ronnie and gets face to face with Michael.
Sweetie, look at me. I know things have been bad, but tomorrow we make everything better, okay?
Okay.
The doorbell rings, interrupting the moment between mother and son.
I like your hair, Cooley. It looks pretty.
Thanks, sweetie. Have fun trick-or-treating, okay? Don't eat too much candy.
Behind Deborah and Michael, Judith answers the door. A scrawny teenager, Steve, 16, enters. Hey, Mrs. Myers.
I want you out by 11.
What'd I do?
I know what you do.
Whatever. Deborah leaves and Steve turns to Judith with lust in his eyes. Both of them begin to climb the stairs.
What about trick-or-treating?
Are you kidding me? Go by yourself. Aren't you too old for that anyway?
Sorry, Squirt, but have fun. Our next scene is from 1985's Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Reading for the part of Demon is Don Knotts, and reading for the part of Anita is Bullwinkle. Let's get started, shall we? Interior conversion van, night. Demon and Anita share a joint as we watch Pam and Reggie drive away in the pickup.
You know, I miss him already.
Yeah, he's a cutie pie. Wanna hit this?
Anita passes the joint to Demon.
Yeah!
Demon groans and takes a puff on the joint.
What's wrong? Hey, are you okay?
It's them damn enchiladas!
Demon leaps from the van.
You going to be all right?
Demon darts across the trailer park to a ratty outhouse made of sheet metal and covered in graffiti. Interior outhouse night. Demon groans in relief as he relieves himself on the toilet. Suddenly, the outhouse begins to rattle. Demon is startled.
Who's that? Stop it!
The outhouse continues to shake.
Stop it!
Anita laughs outside as she shakes the outhouse. Interior outhouse night.
You're gonna get it, bitch!
Exterior outhouse night. Intercut scene as needed.
Oh, lighten up, Demon. You'll feel a lot better after you shit.
I'll feel a lot better when I'm out of here. This shit box is gross.
Well, you better watch out for the snake that's going to crawl up that crapper and bite your ass.
Demon looks down through his legs.
Ooh, baby! Hey, baby! Hey, baby!
Ooh, baby! Ooh, baby! Ooh, baby! Ooh, baby!
Demon begins to rock back and forth singing.
Hey, baby! Hey, baby!
Ooh, baby! Ooh, baby! Ooh, baby! Ooh, baby!
Outside, we hear a gasp from Anita.
Anita? Hey, girl, what's up?
Moments pass and the outhouse begins to shake again.
Hey!
Rage fills Demon's face as he begins pulling up his pants.
Okay,
I told you this ain't funny. Now you're gonna get it, bitch. Demon opens the latch to the outhouse to see Anita on the ground. Anita! This concludes our episodes of Recasting with Christian Slater. And if you've taken a mental note of all of our fucking bullshit, you'll be sure to go easy on the enchiladas. See you next time.
So I've been doing this Insane's Picks Hall of Fame around the world portion for several months now. So I think this is going to be the last around the world's one I'm going to do. And then we'll go back to the good old US of A and we'll do some more inductees into the Insane's Picks Hall of Fame. But I have to end on a high note. That's right. This is the Insane's Pick from around the world Hall of Fame. We travel to Brazil to induct the one, the only, Jose Mojica Mares, a.k.a. Coffin Freakin' Joe. That's right. Coffin Joe was born March 13th, Friday the 13th, by the way, 1936 in Brazil. Jose's love for movies began at an early age. He spent a lot of his time at the local movie house, which his father helped manage. By the time he was 18, Coffin Joe had already completed over 80 films. From a very young age, his interest began in horror. With his famous At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul in 1963, considered to be Brazil's first ever actual horror movie, Jose began the role of his lifetime as Coffin Joe. This film made Jose and his persona Coffin Joe a household name and quickly became his trademark. Coffin Joe wore a black top hat, suit, and cape. Of course, let's not forget the long-ass fingernails. Initially, he wore artificial nails, but over the next 30 years, he would continue to grow out his nails to grotesque lengths. One could admire his commitment to the character of Coffin Joe, especially when his balls would itch. He finally cut his nails in 1998. Coffin Joe is an immoral undertaker who is driven by his desire to have a son by the perfect woman, believing that immortality is achieved through procreation, a concept he refers to as the continuation of blood. He often resorts to murder, kidnapping, rape to achieve his means with his violent nature, atheism, and hatred towards Christianity, putting him in conflict with his largely Catholic neighbors. Despite his own disbelief in the supernatural, he often finds himself experiencing paranormal phenomena, including encounters with ghosts, death, and visions of hell. At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul was such a success that it quickly followed up with a second film that was part of the official Coffin Joe trilogy. This Night I'll Possess Your Corpse was the second film in 1966. The third of the trilogy, Embodiment of Evil, didn't get completed until December of 2006. More than 40 years after the release of the first film in the series. Even though the official Coffin Joe storyline was only 3 films, the character would appear in 9 different movies, some of which he would be kind of a crypt keeper of sorts in horror anthologies. He would also appear in 3 different TV shows, music videos, and even had his own comic book. Remember the height of Freddy Krueger in the 1980s here in America? Well, Freddy has nothing on Coffin Joe in Brazil. The character has been called Brazil's national boogeyman. Now, sadly, Marins died February 19th in 2020 at the age of 83. Let's all hope he's in a better place. And for Coffin Joe, that might very well be his psychedelic visions of hell from his movies, where there's arms, legs, butts, and boobs sticking out of the walls. On that note, we induct Jose Mojica Mares, a.k.a. Coffin Joe, into Insane Picks Hall of Fame. So that's it, folks. That's the show. Hope everybody out there enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed presenting it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to get off this goddamn island. So until next time, we'll talk to you on the next episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer